Hello everyone, this is Tom. Welcome back. Let's talk about 1973. What are your favorite albums from 73? Here are my 10 personal favorites. Coming in at number 10 is Judy Sill's second album called Heart Food. It was the second album released in her lifetime, her final album. And what an album it is, coming off her incredible 5-star debut. This album has more of an orchestrated feel to it. She did all the arrangements, and there is a song on here that you must hear if you haven't heard it. It's a song that ends the album on side 2 called The Donor. It's incredible. I've never really heard anything like it. It starts off with this piano, almost sounds like this church hymn, and she starts singing this kind of refrain over and over, and then there's more vocals being overlapped as time goes on, until the point where it becomes like this almost like cathedral sounding choir of voices, and it's just mind-blowing. And then it goes into this other part too, where she sings like a verse or two, but I can't really describe it unless you hear it. So I highly recommend this album. There's a lot of other great songs on here. The Phoenix, the what is it called? The Pearl. There's also another song on here called The Kiss. It's gained a lot of traction on YouTube. She does a performance of it on the Old Grey Whistle Test back in 73, but highly recommend this album. I just got into this maybe about a year and a half ago, and it's already entered my top 10 for 73. So Heart Food, Judy Sill, 1973 on Asylum Records. Coming in at number 9 is the Final Faces record, Ooh La La. And this album doesn't get a lot of attention. It's a really short album, but it has some really great songs on here. Some great stuff from Ronnie Lane. There's a song on here called Flags and Banners, which is fantastic. Of course, they have some great rockers on here. Cindy, Incidentally, Borstal Boys. But my favorite are probably the last 3 on side 2. Glad and Sorry, for this really great piano opening riff kind of. Just Another Honey, another great kind of ballad with Rod Stewart. And then, of course, the title track, Ooh La La. Final Faces album. I think this is their 4th album, and love this album. Coming in at number 8, this is all about last albums, I guess, here, but the final great album, in my opinion, from the Beach Boys, Holland. A lot of people kind of dismiss this record. I don't know why. It has Blondie Chaplin singing Leaving This Town, which is a great song no one really talks about. And also, of course, it has the phenomenal Sail on Sailor, and then Mike Love does his little California Saga, and Alan Jardine too as well joins in on that. Carl Wilson has The Traitor. I think it's just a phenomenal record all the way through. It has a really cool vibe, and the last thing the Beach Boys did, in my opinion, that really holds up. I mean, after this, they really just became a nostalgic band with Endless Summer onward, but this is their last final artistic statement, in my opinion. So great album, Holland, from the Beach Boys. Number 7 is probably my favorite Paul Simon record, There Goes Rhymin' Simon. This is a phenomenal, flawless record. Every song in here is great. I think he's at a peak here of songwriting. Something So Right, Tenderness. Of course, the hits, Loves Me Like a Rock, Kodachrome, Learn How to Fall, St. Junie's Comet. I mean, it's all so great. The arrangements are great. The melodies, fantastic songwriting here from Paul Simon. There Goes Rhymin' Simon. Number 7 is the first major release on Island Records from Bob Marley and the Wailers, Catch a Fire. This too starts off a series of albums of just 4 or 5-star albums of Marley throughout the 70s. My favorites on here, I love Slave Driver, the backup vocals on that. Baby, We've Got a Date, love that song. And then, of course, it has Stirred Up, the hit. Midnight Ravers, No More Trouble. Just a great debut. This is the American version. Here's the alternate cover for Catch a Fire with the little deal there. Same mix, but I think this came out a few years ago. It was like a reissue on, I think, gray or white vinyl. The next one would be the Kinks' Preservation Act 1, one of many great concept albums from the Kinks in the 70s. every song in here, I believe, is fantastic. Morning Song, Daylight, Sweet Lady Genevieve. One of the Survivors is one of their great rockers. I love Cricket, Money and Corruption, Sitting in the Midday Sun, and ending with Demolition. Just another phenomenal album from the Kinks. And back in the early 90s, Rhino released both Preservation Act 1 and Act 2 on this double disc here. And they added the song Preservation to track 1 on Preservation Act 1, which is a great song. It kind of talks about the whole plot and everything. And maybe this year they'll release a super deluxe of Preservation Act 1 and 2, since it's the 50th year anniversary. So phenomenal stuff. Okay, let's see. We got another great one here, Stevie Wonder, Inner Visions. This is probably my favorite album of his after Talking Book. It's just phenomenal. Living for that 1-2 punch of Living for the City and Golden Lady on side 1 is just, it's just euphoria. Too High and Visions, Higher Ground, All in Love is Fair is one of his most beautiful ballads, and one of my favorite all-time Stevie Wonder songs, Don't You Worry About a Thing. Good stuff here from Stevie Wonder, Inner Visions. And then let's go a little prog here with Selling England by the Pound by Genesis, my second favorite album of the Peter Gabriel era. There's a band out of Canada, I don't know if anybody's heard it. They're called The Musical Box, and they have toured this album as well as Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And they use all the same props that Genesis used back in the day, in the 70s. I guess the Genesis members loaned those props and costumes to The Musical Box. But they put on a tribute show that goes beyond tribute. I mean, it's just, they have every nuance down, and the guy who plays Peter Gabriel, with all the makeup and the costumes, his voice sounds exactly like Peter Gabriel, and all the instrumentalists are just phenomenal. So if you're a huge Peter Gabriel Genesis era fan, I highly recommend seeing The Musical Box if they tour your town. They are phenomenal. They're from Canada. But this is one of the great prog records of all time. Dancing with the Moonlit Night, I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe. Such a great song. Firth of Fifth, featuring one of Steve Hackett's greatest solos. Even Phil Collins gets a little solo turn on here with More Fool Me. Side 2 is Flawless, The Battle of Epping Forest, After the Ordeal, The Cinema Show, and Isle of Plenty. One of the greatest prog rock records of all time. Genesis, Selling England by the Pound. And the last two, number 2 is David Bowie, Aladdin Sane. I've mentioned this in previous videos, so I won't go on and on about it, but probably has one of my favorite Bowie sides ever. Side 1 with Watch That Man, Aladdin Sane, Driving Saturday, Panic in Detroit, Cracked Actor. Like I've said in previous videos, the only drawback of this album is that version of Let's Spend the Night Together. Not too into that version, but all the other songs make up for it, and it is one of Bowie's best, in my opinion. And then number 1 for me for 1973 is Steely Dan's Countdown to Ecstasy. This is their second album. It's a flawless 5-star record. Has one of Jeff Skunk Baxter's best solos ever on My Old School. And then one of my favorites on here that not a lot of people don't talk about is Pearl of the Quarter, with this really cool steel guitar. And of course it has Showbiz Kids, Going to Lost Wages, and your gold teeth on side 1, Boston Rag. What a phenomenal record. Bowie Safa, Razor Boy, and then ending with King of the World. Great record from Steely Dan. One of many great albums to come through the 70s. A lot of great 5-star records from Steely Dan in the 70s. This is one of them. And that's really it. There are more that I can mention, but these are ones that have returned to the most from 73. I'd like to know what yours are. Please leave those in the comment section. Please subscribe. I really appreciate that. And you all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.